Leticia and I'm the chair, and with 7 others, a founder of the Angelman Syndrome Association of WA. Firstly, to let you know a little bit about the condition, Angelman syndrome. It's a rare genetic disorder that results in physical and intellectual disability, occurring about 1 in 20,000 people worldwide. People born with the condition are fondly known as angels because they have a happy, affectionate, inquisitive nature with frequent smiles, hugs, excitement and laughter. On the other side, they are unable to speak, and more than 80% have hard to control seizures and a sleep disorder, which means they are often awake and needing attention many times through the night. They just don't need as much sleep as we mere mortals. But they can use computers better than their mothers. That's it. A lefty, not a righty. The association is a group that started in 2007 with just 2 parents who connected via a national website. One of them was Jackie Mills. And then connected with a third via an international online forum, and the numbers grew from there. Then, sensing the benefits and the synergies, this group formalised and founded an incorporated association in WA that now provides better social, emotional and practical support for families and children and adults with Angelman syndrome than any other state in Australia. I will draw on my experiences with the association a bit later on as I chat. And we have seen a number of strong examples of leadership. I also work as a family support officer at Calparan, based at PMH. It's been established for 30 years, supporting families of children with disability and special needs. I'm also the mother of a child with Angelman syndrome and of another daughter with learning difficulties and epilepsy. While this does not make me an expert in family leadership, it has given me lots of lessons in living with a child with disability, including dealing with some challenging behaviours, which is what I have in common with most of you here today. I wanted to ask now, what is leadership? And Mike, you're going to lead your way up here and do that thing. Some of you may have heard this YouTube example.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not 2 nuts. 3 is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, Remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is over-glorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
So traditionally, the common perception of leadership is the person who jumps into the fray and by example encourages other people to follow. But are leaders always that loud-voiced extrovert? Do you always have to be at the front of the line to be the leader? In the context of family leadership, I think the answer to both of these is a resounding no. Instead, I've formed a view of leadership that comes in three forms. Advocating for and leading your own family, or leading the way for other families, mentoring, or joining together to go ahead united, critical mass, or any combination of the above. First, advocating for and leading your own family. One example of taking the lead, especially in the world of disability, is a classic one, where a parent or supporter will go out and stand their ground, often needingly to be in an adversarial way, to advocate for the best situation and opportunities for that person that you care for. But years of this can wear you down unless you have someone else on your side. The second type of family leadership is mentoring and leading the ways for other families. It's where people who have walked the same path reach back and offer a hand to those coming through for the first time. This is one of the more significant benefits we have found since forming the ASA WA. We have a small but diverse range of members, with our youngest Angel, just 1 year old, and our eldest is 40. As a rare and relatively newly described condition, only in 1965, external mentoring resources are really limited, and many medicos have limited experience of the condition or its impacts. In 2012, the ASA of WA established a structured family mentoring program to afford support to their members. Among other things, this has enabled the sharing of skills, knowledge and experience for things as diverse as accompanying visits to medical, educational or government agency appointments to listen, scribe, support and reduce those feelings of isolation or intimidation. It afforded the chance to help fill in complex forms or applications or understand respite funding, advocacy or paralegal queries, or just lend an ear and a shoulder when it was needed, and sometimes just to interpret bureaucracy. The program was facilitated by a coordinator who familiarised themselves with all the families and the ages and stages of the parents and the child and the siblings, which enabled good matching when a family calls in seeking a mentor. These mentors undertook training, confidentiality agreements, so that they felt confident to provide that support. And from this program, developed our informal mentoring. We have established informal pastoral care processes to celebrate and support our families when needed. And all of this was done without any recurrent funding. Informal mentoring occurs through discussing shared experiences and the success and the problems during social events, at committee meetings, in emails and on the fledgling state and national Facebook groups. Here, statewide and nationally, support and advice is offered and gladly accepted between families about situations as varied as equipment, funding sources, education options, medical and pharmaceutical experiences, seizures, transport, therapy, communication tips, travel with kids, sleep deprivation, challenging behaviours, and lots and lots and lots of stories about food. The group has thrived as members have offered each other support and pastoral care through the traumatic news of recent and unexpected Angelman diagnosis, depression, cancer diagnosis and treatment, surgery, marital separation, divorce, bereavement, grief, births, small achievements, and long-term skill developments with and for our children. An example of this pastoral care is the annual Lockie's Ride, an event which evolved from our determination to support grieving parents and to mark the life and loss of their son Lockie, aged 4, to a seizure. Now, every year, our entire membership meets for a day out that has included Harley-Davidson rides, which would have been a joy for Lockie, who loved riding, bikes, fast cars, and anything that moved. We have supported each other practically through many problems with a combined lived experience and proven solutions to intrinsic behaviour and the benefit of wisdom passed down from community elders and peers. Our children can frequently be compulsive. Their drive for food, water play, visual and sensory stimulation, and the frustrating inability to communicate in a traditional way leads them to activities which can be self-injurious, socially isolating, hazardous, and just bloody annoying sometimes. The benefit of united knowledge is that someone has lived it, and you'll often get an answer that works for you. My own daughter had some challenging behaviours as a very young child around her sleeping patterns, or lack of. For her own safety, to stop her falling down the stairs in the dark at night, she was closed into her bedroom at night, and we have absolutely done everything we can to keep the restrictive practices to a minimum. However, when she woke, which was frequent, she had no means of attracting our attention, so she would hit her head on the wall. The resultant self-injury was really, really distressing. Working with the DSC site to see what happened before, what is a pattern, what is the reason for this, we explored the concept of placing a doorbell in her room, which she could ring to attract attention. At first, we were really sceptical. We thought she'd just play with it, play as cause and effect, see what would happen. Or she'd just dismantle it. However, within 2 days, she learned to use it precisely as intended, and the head injury stopped. Clearly, that head-banging behaviour was simply a response to her frustration at not being able to communicate her needs with us. Now she calls us to let us know she needs the toilet during the night, had a bad dream, is lonely, needs a Panadol for a headache, or just can't pull the covers up when she's cold. This, for a child that previously had calcified the bones of her skull in her desperate attempt to let us know she needed help, was a huge change. And this solution is one which has been shared with our association and within the association, and is a perfect example of how mentoring within the association helped provide a solution to a problem common amongst almost every family with a kid with AS. And then there's joining together to go ahead, united, critical mass. This third type of family leadership is where diverse family groups band together to achieve a common goal, and sometimes change the system. Basically, it's strength in numbers. The association has in essence plugged the gap in the system and services for our families. We have established communication training programs, mentoring programs, lobbied successfully the federal government for inclusion in the Better Start funding program, hold ongoing and regular social events for mums, dads, families and siblings. It has fundraised for research, rallied support for the implementation of the NDIS, promoted and raised awareness among medical and allied health professionals, hosted a national conference in 2009, and networked together many more families who were previously going it alone. Not being able to speak is inherent to Angelman syndrome. However, through our association, we initiated a communication training program with passionate education and speech professionals, including Laura Jones, who you'll meet tomorrow, who supported our children to communicate using high-tech or low-tech displays and devices, and to design individualised programs. And they negotiated complex and challenging behaviours and learning and attentional deficits and differences. And critically, they believe that our children have the capacity to communicate. These true believers developed a series of achievable communication strategies for our children aged from 2 to 40. With the advent of iPads and other devices, we're finding that our children are at last able to communicate their choices, feelings, fears and pain, and give voice to their happiness. There is no Medicare rebate for this training, so through our joint efforts, we raise the funds to support our families to maintain this learning. It is never too late for our children to start, and it really makes a difference in their lives and the lives of those who care for them for life. And the association continues to grow as more children with the syndrome are identified and diagnosed. Like any organisation which grows organically from small beginnings, think of your footy parents, the toy library, the school canteen, or work colonies. You're thrown together not because you chose it, just as you didn't choose disability or special needs, but just because it happened that way. The membership is diverse, with various ages, different talents, skills, capacities, and experiences. I certainly did not set out to be the leader of this group, but I'm an organiser, I'm empathetic, I'm compassionate, nurturing, and very, very social. And those skill sets have worked to assist our plan. Not everyone can do everything, but many hands do make for lighter work. This cohort of people would not have likely met or connected otherwise. And while many were willing, they were also time poor. So activities are worked around commitments and capacity, personalities and expertise. There is a role for everyone, and the secret is to recognise and appreciate everyone's contribution. With a wide cross-section, there are many talents. There are people who are fantastic at charging in and organising, and people who are brilliant listeners. There are people with a head for finances, and those whose skill is letter writing and grant applications, or catering. And there are people who put their hand up for small tasks, but they do it often. There are parents whose experience of the disability world was steeped in the past of institutionalisation, who were advised to have low expectations for their child's learning and independence. And there are new parents coming through whose children are embracing mainstream education and plans for work and shared houses when they leave school. This is all blended, acknowledged, accepted and strived for, with shared aspiration, empathy and celebration, but no judgment. And this is how we lead together. So taking home, that's a synopsis of what I've said. It's shown leadership, as you all know in your own lives, is shown in many different ways, not always in the obvious or traditional way. And family leadership can be demonstrated at your own family level, family to family level, or as you have today, through a collective, united, common interest group going forward. And that's me done.
Thanks, Leticia. Awesome stuff.